So, moving on, we are going to be talking about last night's game, last night's Pittsburgh Steelers at the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings were up 29-0. I
Yes,
wasn't watching the game live. 29-0 at
29 to
halftime.
0. And
Mhm.
I think what did it end? 36
36
to
28.
yeah,
So, Gage, you want to start this one off?
sure. Okay, so I started watching that game and it got up to that like 29 to 0 point and I was
Mhm.
like, you know what, this game's over. Let me just turn it off, turn it to something else. I'm not really all that entertained. This isn't even close. And then I flipped it to a different channel. I was watching Ridiculousness actually.
Ooh, haven't heard
And
that one in a while.
yeah, little Rob Deerdeck, little comedy thrown in there after I was watching that beat down. It had me a little down, had to raise the spirits. But then I was like, I had the score on my phone and I looked down and I was like, what is going on? The Steelers scored their first touchdown when there was like 2 minutes left in the third quarter.
Mhm.
They scored, what was it, three or I think it was like three or four times within the span of 5 minutes. Just craziness.
Mhm.
But one thing that I want to highlight out of all of this is Chase Claypool. You got to grow up, dude. At some point, it's got to happen. I know you're still young, but goddamn, like you're just. I feel like he's constantly causing issues at this point, and like because and for those that don't know, you guys know obviously, but with like 30 seconds left in the game, this guy is celebrating a first down catch when they need to get back to the line of scrimmage and spike the ball to stop the clock. And then he appeared to get pissed off at the offensive lineman that took the ball from him, but it's like, dude, you got to get it together. And people think that like the music and practice thing that he requested seems a little bit petty to get mad about, but it's like with the team in its current state, to be requesting things like that, like things as petty as that, just seems childish to me.
Yeah. I that game was crazy. First of all, it was crazy because I don't know if anybody like got the memo that you're supposed to tackle Dalvin Cook. I don't know if that was ever talked about because literally the widest holes I've ever seen on a football field were being created for Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook had a phenomenal night. He played amazing, but like, how could he not play amazing when there weren't any Steelers defenders within 10 yards of him on like most of these runs, which was just crazy. Credit to the Vikings O line for that because obviously that was a big feat. But the Vikings defense just came out and played otherworldly football like in the first half of this game. I'm watching this. Obviously, I go to Penn State, so I'm watching it with a couple of Steelers fans, and they're just like they can't even watch it anymore. And I'm just like, well, to be fair, the Vikings defense has never played like this. Like, this is insane what they're doing right now. They were all over you would have thought that was the best defense in the NFL, the way they were playing. They were all over every single run play. Receivers weren't able to get open. Like, it was insane. But then,
Harrison Smith is a fucking guy, dude.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
like,
yeah. There were
he's not
talks
talked about enough. Like he's mentioned and one of the better safeties in that conversation, but like he's good.
Yeah. And there were talks this year about whether he was starting to, take a downturn in his career. And then he played lights out in this game, at least for the beginning of it. And then, I did the same thing. I walked away from the game because things were more interesting to me than the Vikings blowing out the Steelers. And then I checked the score and I was like, holy shit, what the hell is going on right now? They're about to blow it. Do you know what other team scored their first touchdown with like 2 minutes left in the third quarter? The Patriots, and that's Super Bowl. That's the feeling I was getting when I saw this happening. But good for the Vikings for not blowing this, because that would have been a pretty much guaranteed lock that Zimmer is getting fired. But other than that, not that I don't think he's getting fired. I think he is. But I mean, credit to the Steelers for not giving up on the game, for fighting back. I agree with what you said about Chase Claypool. He's got to grow up. But man, you can't come out of this game without talking about Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook is another beast, man.
And you know what's crazy is that he dislocated his shoulder 12 days ago. Yeah. And shouldn't have been even playing in this game, to be quite honest. Like, it was insane. I feel like in this game, I'd say the first 45 minutes, that's what the Vikings should have been this year. That's what the Vikings should have been. They have too good of a roster, really, to be 6-7 under 500 this late into the season. Kirk Cousins, he was up and down for a lot of the game. But this year, I think Kirk Cousins, I'm not going to say he's an A-list quarterback. I'm not going to say he's best of the best top tier with the Tom Brady's and the Patrick Mahomes and Aaron Rodgers of the world. But in terms of like the second tier quarterbacks, he's probably the best out of those guys. And I think he's having his best season as a pro this year. This is what the Vikings should have been. They have too good of a roster. Eric Kendricks played well. Harrison Smith coming back to life. He's probably going to be a Hall of Famer when it's all said and done. I've had to deal with him way too many years as a Packers fan. But going back to the Steelers, it's so weird to see Mike Tomlin and Big Ben Roethlisberger this out of sync, this far into their careers together. I don't even think Ben Roethlisberger played necessarily horrible. He did the things that he needed to do, especially down the stretch, and then to throw that what should have been a touchdown pass in between 3 defenders to Pat Freiermuth, and he ended up dropping the ball. That was a pinpoint dime. That was prime Big Ben Roethlisberger. He didn't play his best ball I've ever seen him play, but he played good enough for them to at least tie it in the end. But yeah, going back to that Chase Claypool thing, in that situation with 0 timeouts left, that's like got to be one of the first things that you learn going into the NFL as a receiver, is to get the ball to the referee, not throw it to him, literally hand it to him, because the referee is going to drop the ball. They're not, NFL level wide receivers. Got to get up as quick as you can in that situation. And the fact that you don't know that, even if you're only a second year pro, it doesn't matter. That is, textbook football in a 2-minute drill right there. You have 0 timeouts. You let up at least 10 seconds. And then for you to go after the game to blame it on the guy who knocked it out of your hands, that it wasn't his fault. You weren't going to hand the ball to the referee. You were showboating like that. And then when you lined up, first of all, I didn't see what happened after the play, because like I said, I wasn't able to watch this game. But when they lined up, he wasn't even set correctly.
He didn't even know where he was supposed to be.
He didn't even know where he was supposed to be. He wasn't set correctly. He was offsides, off the line of scrimmage. And then he threw a temper tantrum when they snapped the ball to spike it. I don't know what was going on. And then even earlier in the game, for him to get in Rashad Breeland's face and get called for taunting, it's not, he's looking like Juju Smith-Schuster, to be quite honest with you. And honestly, I don't even know if Juju Smith-Schuster would be doing this.
He didn't really do anything like this.
Yeah. I mean, Juju had his little antics with like the dancing and all that stuff, but as far when they got on the field and it was time to play, Juju did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah. And it's just disappointing to see from a player like this. I'm sure he's going to learn from it.
He's talented. He's a talented receiver. I mean, he had a pretty good game. He's just got to clean up that little petty nonsense, and he could be a great player. But Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with that shit forever. But
I mean, he did put up with Antonio Brown for a good amount of time.
Yeah, that is true.
I don't know if we're comparing Antonio Brown and Chase Claypool right now. I don't think
that's true.
Fair point. Even going back to that though, and that whole relationship right now, did you guys see that Big Ben after the game said that it's not his job to deal with players and make sure that they're doing the right thing? Basically putting it on Mike Tomlin to take care of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Dude, you are the veteran of all veterans right now, pretty much. And it's not your job to be a leader. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, it's tough. I do get what he's talking about though, because I feel like that mostly does go on the coaches, like to understand. Now, obviously there comes a point where you got to be a leader. Like you got to be like, hey, come on. But the coaches should, have these guys ready to go and,
yes, but I feel like
they understand.
I feel like he should just be deflecting all of the responsibility.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true. Is it really surprising though? Because I don't think Big Ben's ever really been that guy. He's never been that leadership role guy.
Yeah, he's had some questionable things.
Yeah,
we won't discuss.
Yeah,
there's a reason why he lost his arm strength. Let's just keep it.